This is Daily Blast Live. We're talking about what you're talking about.
You all ready for this? Dun 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 dun.
This is a sham.
No.
Nope.
Y'all, just stop.
Welcome to DBL, everyone. It's Thursday, October 14th. I am Tori. I'm here with my good friends Jeff and Erica. Full disclosure, Al was on the show about 30 seconds ago, but Al's cracked a tooth and his mouth was looking pretty funny. So we switched and had Jeff here. So thank you.
Well, it was numb.
It was, yeah,
completely
very numb. Yeah.
Yes.
So it would have been funny, but we couldn't have understood.
I was on the sidelines and I wanted to watch Al. He would have been way more entertaining than I. So
we love
good
you,
to be
Al.
here.
Good luck. All right. Now, there's some new details from Katie Couric's upcoming memoir that are raising questions about her journalistic integrity. So in 2016, Katie sat down with the late Supreme Court Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg. She asked her how she felt about NFL players taking a knee during the national anthem in protest. So here's the portion of RBG's response that was actually published at the time. Okay, that's important.
What do I think? I think it's really dumb of them. Would I arrest them for doing it? No. I think it's dumb and disrespectful. I would have the same answer if you asked me about flag burning.
Interesting. Now it turns out that Katie said she left out some quotes, like RBG saying that those who kneel are showing, quote, contempt for a government that has made it possible for their parents and grandparents to live a decent life. Katie said she did it to protect RBG, but some are saying this proves that journalists have an agenda. Interesting. This is fascinating to me. A, why did Katie Couric come out now? Two, what else has she edited? When it comes to maybe, I don't know, Matt Lauer, I'd love to know if she's someone who edits herself. What's that about? And three, I do want to raise that RBG did apologize publicly to Colin Kaepernick, saying she shouldn't have spoken out about it without knowing more about why he was kneeling. So I wanted to make that clear. So Erica, what do you think about all this?
I think everyone, well, most people edit themselves, and for good reason, especially when you don't necessarily have time to process or really understand the gravity of what you're speaking on. This is an interesting example of this to me because, as we know, when Colin Kaepernick first knelt, there were a lot of people who felt very strongly against it, who changed their minds over the course of what was happening at that time in history, which was only a few years ago, so it's not like it was that long ago. But I think that's the important thing to note. There can be an evolution.
That's fair.
When you know better, you do better. So this is an interesting example to me for that reason, because I think a lot of people, if they're being honest with themselves, maybe didn't feel the same way then that they do now about the kneeling.
Even a Supreme Court justice.
Right.
Saying, wow, that's very fair. Jeff, what do you feel about this?
I have the exact same ideology as her. You know, when you hear something or when someone takes a knee during the national anthem, my first knee-jerk reaction was, how dare they do that, right? But after talking to you, Al, being on the show, that's why having a group of friends or people around you with diversity gives you a little insight to what they're feeling, what they're going through. So you can have a knee-jerk reaction. You have to have wear your ideologies like your clothes, right? 5 years ago, this was my favorite jacket. Now I don't like it so much anymore. It's okay to have those ideologies and opinions as long as you're flexible in your thinking and say, I totally see what they're saying now. I was wrong in saying that. That's fine by saying that. And move forward and say, I do support what they're saying now. It's okay to have those. It doesn't mean you're held to those. Although we do hold people to those nowadays, whatever you say is permanently on your record. But I don't believe in that. I think if you want to really change your mind and ideology about something, I think that's good for you. Good for Ruth Bader Ginsburg for changing.
I agree with you. I just want to ask you real quick, both of you, what does this make you think about Katie Couric in a different way at all, knowing that she edits her journal? She was a journalist at some point.
That's a whole different side of the conversation that I do want to talk to, because I definitely think the media holds back and puts out stories that they want to put out, right? What's good for them, whatever's good for their ratings, so to speak, right? And not putting down whatever side they believe in, speaking of ideology. So that's a whole different conversation. We could go there if you want.
Well, it's just it's a curated response that she was open to say, and I was wondering how bad that is.
But technically, any edited piece is a curated piece.
Fair. That's fair.
So it's just a matter of what is deemed to be the information that you are putting out there, like based on a time constraint as well.
I just wonder why Katie Couric's doing this now. I mean, I would never say don't tell your story to anyone, but it's just a lot of info that makes me feel like, Weird, little much. All right, mega podcast star Joe Rogan has repeatedly raised doubts and criticized the COVID vaccines and has also spoken about taking unproven treatments when he got COVID. Well, in his latest podcast, he sat down with CNN's chief medical correspondent Sanjay Gupta, Dr. Sanjay Gupta. Rogan confronted him about the network's coverage of him taking the anti-parasitic drug ivermectin, saying he was taking, quote, a livestock drug. Take a look at this.
Why would they lie and say that's horse dewormer? I can afford people medicine. This is ridiculous. It's just a lie.
I don't think anyone is thick.
But don't you think that a lie like that is dangerous on a news network when you know that they know they're lying?
Can I just come back to the one I want to talk about? Two things on the ledger.
You have, before we get to that, does it bother you that the news network you work for out and out lied, just outright lied about me taking horse dewormer?
They shouldn't have said that.
Why did they do that?
I don't know.
At another point in the interview, Sanjay, or Dr. Gupta, tried to convince Rogan to get vaccinated. Here's what happened.
I think you should get vaccinated and then get sick.
What?
This is why. Because then you got the vaccine protects you from a bad infection, and then you get COVID, so then you get the robust immunity that's imparted from having the actual disease itself.
So for you, Joe Rogan,
yes,
I would say you've had it.
Yes.
So now get one shot of the vaccine.
No.
Why not?
Because I have better immunity than I would if I was vaccinated.
Joe Rogan is fair to speak out, but when you start talking about medical claims to Dr. Sanjay Gupta, it just feels weird. Now, I understand what he said about CNN, ivermectin. I think that was confusing, and you have a point on that, don't you?
Well, I'm a Joe Rogan fan. I know not everybody in here is. And I like Joe Rogan for the fact that he takes the other side of the conversation, even if he doesn't agree with it. That's kind of what I try to do on this show as well, because you need that. You need that balance. You need to talk it out. As far as which one do you want to go? Do you want to go ivermectin first?
Yeah.
Because he's right. It did make him better. So why aren't we looking into that? I don't agree with the vaccines and things like that, but if something made someone feel better and he didn't take horse dewormer, it was given to billions of people around the world, this very same medicine, why aren't we looking into, if that made him feel better, why aren't we looking into that? There's this new pill that we had our Dr. Coley on yesterday, Merca or something?
Merck. It's a COVID pill.
But so now that's okay.
Right.
But if Trump came out and said, I took Merck, I feel like people would be against it just because Trump said that he was taking Merck. Do you see what I'm saying? Because I think Trump said he took ivermectin at one point, and now people are against it just because of political ideologies rather than looking the medicine behind it. That's what I'm saying.
I don't think you're 100% wrong in that the people are against it based on who the messenger is.
Right.
But I also believe that there's so many other variables in this equation as to why certain people have been able to be healthy or like recover from this based on a lot of other things that they were doing, based on their standard of healthcare, based on their resources. So I think what some people are saying and pushing back against is the people that listen to Joe Rogan all don't have Joe Rogan's pockets or access.
Healthcare.
And so it's dangerous to say this is something that's going to cure you when so many people are still dying because they don't have those same resources.
Totally, and I'm not even for taking that, right? And again, I think I have to clear up. I'm vaccinated, I'm pro-vax. I have to put that into the conversation. But I'm not saying take that medicine. Why aren't we talking about taking that medicine? Like when we brought it up, I asked Dr. Coley about it yesterday, and she's like, because it doesn't work. That was her answer. Well, clearly it works. Joe Rogan's an example.
But he had a cocktail. So it's like, that's the thing. Like when we said
works,
that.
Right? A doctor on our show said it did not work, but it clearly works.
Okay, I'm not going to get into the medical aspect. I'm simply saying that when Joe Rogan came out, he said these are the cocktails of everything that I took.
Right.
So to isolate one when people are rushing to different places to purchase
Totally
this
get what you're saying.
Not under doctor's care,
Causing
and they're taking too much of it.
It's very problematic.
Totally agree with what you're saying. Totally agree.
It's a good. Is it the cause in the correlation? I also think it's not a great place to have a different point of view when it's medicine and science. To me, 1 + 1 = 2. There aren't two different sides, but I.
But his 1 + 1 = 2.
Yeah. Well,
1 + 100 million equaled 2.
All right, we'll be right back. Thanks, guys. Stick with us.
Closed captioning provided by
So going back to So going back to our discussion. So I don't know. So what do you want me to say?
We were just having the discussion about Joe Rogan and what he took the idea that there has been some indication that this ivermectin was helping to cure from COVID, but the response really is that we don't have any information that states that this particular drug is responsible
by itself. Right. Right.
He took a bunch of other things, including monoclonal.
And it's also a very frustrating conversation for medical professionals as well, because they're still very inundated with people who are coming in unvaccinated and also with COVID. And so it's the idea that you aren't willing to do what works in order to prevent yourself from being and taking up hospital beds from people who are coming in with other ailments, other viruses, things that they don't have control over, when you have an option to be controlled, or be in control of your health. So I think it's a complicated conversation, but ultimately, it just makes me very uncomfortable that Joe Rogan has so much influence on people who don't have his same resources, because I know for a fact that people are still dying from COVID.
But why isn't that the conversation? Exactly what you're saying. Instead of saying you take ivermectin, which is a horse dewormer, which is not true in this case, and you're a Trumper. That's like the thing that we're saying against it. Instead of saying
I don't think Trump is even in this conversation. Not for me.
Not for you, but I think for a lot of people, ivermectin is a political thing.
Right, but I think ultimately it just comes down to having people be proactive about their health and not necessarily having people who aren't medical experts giving medical advice.
And I totally agree. The one thing I agree with is, why don't we look at the positives and bring that to the table instead of knocking this down and giving false information.
Welcome back to DBL. I'm doing Shatner. We're getting our first look at William Shatner floating weightless. No one laughed? Okay, weightless in space.
At what point did you decide that you're going to pull that trigger?
As the music was like dun dun dun.
I feel like it was like way before that.
You are incorrect. Blue Origin posted this video showing Shatner peering out the window, looking back down on Earth for the very first time in his life. You can see him say, "Oh, wow." Here's what he said about the experience.
You're looking down on the Earth, look up in space, but you're also looking up into the future and looking down into the past. What we're looking down upon is Mother Earth, and it needs protecting.
Now, some people, including Prince William, say that space exploration should take a back seat to efforts to protect Mother Earth. So here's what Prince William had to say about it in a recent BBC interview. Take a look.
The idea that this space race is on at the moment, we've seen everyone trying to get space tourism going. It's the idea that we need some of the world's greatest brains and minds fixed on trying to repair this planet, not trying to find the next place to go and live.
All right, I think both things can be true. I think we need to have space exploration because our species is one that explores and moves on, and I think we need to fix Mother Earth at the same time. I don't think you have to have one or the other.
Well, I agree with you, but is it necessary? And people can do whatever they want to do with their money,
right.
But I don't know if sending actors and billionaires up into air like really helps that agenda. I don't understand. I think it's more like a ride that only the rich people can have.
And I feel like it will trickle down to normal rank and file once the rich people get it, like everything. They get it, and then it sort of trickles down, and then it's a normal transit or possible exploration.
One day we'll get to go on that roller coaster.
Or that perhaps you go around and you get to visit or explore or learn about other places in space. I believe in space exploration, but I also think Mother Earth needs to be important too. I think both things can be true. What do you think?
Yeah, I don't know why people are getting all worked up about rich people doing crazy things, right? I mean, just look at the airlines. Some people sit in first class. Us, we have to sit in the back of the bus. You know what I mean? Like you're in the back of the airplane by the toilet, great. But the rich get to do cool things. That's just the way this world works.
Do you think the rich should be paying for climate change to be fixed on this Earth instead of anything about space exploration? Or do you think they can have both?
I think they can have both.
Interesting. Interesting.
Is it? Or are you just saying that because we have to go?
It is interesting. I think a lot of people, Prince William.
Are we going to talk about it after the show?
Yeah, and Prince William clearly thinks there's one or the other. I don't. Love to know what you guys think. Our interview, stop looking at me. Our interview with Meghan Trainor is next. We'll be right back.
You're talking.
Okay.
The tweet claims Biden's new driving tax is expected to cost you about 8 cents a mile. Get ready to pay an extra $1,200 a year. A post on Facebook reads, better contact your reps. If you drive 26,000 miles times 8 cents per mile, that's $2,080. Now get mad. Rick and BE asked the Verify team, is this accurate? Our source for this is the Infrastructure and Jobs Investment Act, which is part of the president's Build Back Better agenda. The legislation includes around $550 billion in new federal investment in America's roads and bridges, water infrastructure, resilience, internet, and more. In it is a national motor vehicle per mile user fee pilot for drivers who participate in a pilot program aimed at studying whether a per mile user fee would help improve roads. The goal here is to see if such a fee would help restore and maintain long-term solvency of the Highway Trust Fund and improve the surface transportation system. If the legislation passes, the participants in the study would record the miles they drive and pay fees based on those miles. Enrollment would be voluntary, and the participants would be reimbursed for out-of-pocket expenses. So we can verify the legislation does not include a new driving tax, as these social media posts claim.
Look at these little pockets. Welcome back to DBL. She was all about that bass, but now she's all about being a mom. Earlier, we sat down with Meghan Trainor to talk all about her family and her new gig TV gigs. There's today's Chatting with the Stars. Meghan, welcome to DBL. We are so excited to talk to you about your upcoming projects. But first, let's talk baby. We've got to know the story behind this TikTok video with your adorable son, Riley. We have a clip. Take a look.
It's a trash bag.
I've been doing this for a half hour.
All right, where did the trash bag idea come from? And is this the silliest thing you've done to make Riley giggle? Or is there something else?
Absolutely. Honestly, my husband was taking out the trash and he started cackling, and we were like, we gotta film this. Somebody grab my phone, and my brother ran in and was like, but it's a trash bag. And he loved it. And it was bizarre, but anything to hear that laugh, I was like, I will do this all day.
It should be my phone
Remember
ring.
this for birthdays and holiday times, because you'll buy them a $3,000 baby entertainment
it's a
center,
garbage bag.
and they want to play with the bag in the box.
You're
so just
right.
remember.
Well, Meghan, I'm a radio girl, so I love seeing artists like yourself really following your evolution. And we know that your albums were always about self-love and embracing who you are.
Yeah, it's pretty clear. I ain't no size 2, but I can shake it like I'm supposed to do.
How has becoming a wife and mother changed your relationship with yourself?
Oh man, especially becoming a mom and being pregnant and having a C-section, and like learning what your body is capable of and how it can transform and literally give life. It was beautiful, hard, emotionally challenging, trying to love yourself all over again with a brand new body. It's made me so strong. I know that I can get through anything now because I'm like, oh, we had a C-section, like we could do anything.
Warrior.
Exactly.
Warrior.
But it's been amazing.
Exactly. Well, let's talk about your shows, because you're dipping your hands in the culinary world by hosting Top Chef Family Style.
I was like, this better be the best cookie of all times, and it was. It was so good.
So when it comes to cooking, are you the chef in your marriage?
No, my husband cooks everything. He is just like my everything, and he's so good at cooking my food. And I'm just like, I'm not good at it. And that's what's fun about me hosting this show, is because I'm the viewer at home learning. I'm asking all the questions. I'm like, how did you make this, to like a 9-year-old kid? And they're prodigies. They're so good. It's so beautiful.
Megan, you were also the judge on Clash of the Cover Bands. Jimmy Fallon is the EP. Tell us, what is it like to work with Jimmy, and does he pull his typical antics on the show?
I love Jimmy Fallon so much. Every time I'm with him, he makes sure to say hi to all my family members. He's just like one of the kindest people in this industry. So anything he asked me to do, I will do it. And I was honored to be a part of this show. I got to judge with Esther Dean, Adam Lambert, and Twitch is our host. And we highlight on all these amazing cover bands that give their whole lives to this. And our winner of the entire show gets to win some cash and also gets to perform on The Tonight Show with Fallon. So I can't wait for that moment.
All right, if you could be in a cover band, what would it be, Megan? Who would be who would you want to be?
I would want to be Backstreet Boys. What? I want to be a part of the Backstreet Boys.
Backstreet Boys is good. I love it. All right, Top Chef Family Style is streaming on Peacock, and Clash of the Cover Bands airs October 13th on E! This girl is busy. Thank you so much for joining DBL, Megan. We'll be right back.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Promotional consideration is brought to you by
largest airline is still trying to repair the damage after an operational meltdown over the weekend. Thousands of passengers were stranded after Southwest canceled 2,400 flights. Some social media users claim in posts shared and liked tens of thousands of times that the cancellations were caused by employees protesting against a COVID-19 vaccine mandate issued just a few days earlier. It was then echoed by some big names, including Donald Trump Jr. and comedian Chad Prather. So let's verify. Were Southwest Airlines delays caused by employees protesting against a vaccine mandate? Our sources are Southwest Airlines, the FAA, the Southwest Airlines Pilots Association, and industry analyst Brett Snyder. Last week, Southwest announced its employees need to get their COVID-19 vaccine by December 8th, citing President Biden's federal mandate. Then, on Friday, the pilots union filed a motion in federal court to stop the mandate. And a few hours later, the mass cancellations began, which prompted social media users to connect the dots. However, both Southwest and the pilots union say there was no vaccine protest. The airline claims bad weather and air traffic control delays were the root of the problem, although the FAA pushed back and said the massive delays weren't its fault. So, what really happened? The pilots union says it came down to bad planning and not a worker protest. Both pilots and flight attendant unions have complained for months that crews are stretched thin because there isn't enough staff. The head of the pilots union outright said, quote, "I can say with certainty that there are no work slowdowns or sickouts either related to the recent mandatory vaccine mandate or otherwise," unquote. And industry analyst Brett Snyder at crankyconcierge.com, who is helping stranded clients, found the meltdown coincided with what was supposed to be Southwest's biggest day of flying since the pandemic began.
Everything I've seen suggests that there's no nefarious plot by labor to disrupt operations or anything like that. Or the simplest explanation is that they messed up. Something went very wrong. It broke. And then now they're trying to put it back together again.
So there's no evidence that Southwest Airlines delays were caused by employees protesting against a vaccine mandate. In fact, other airlines like Spirit Airlines saw similar meltdowns when they tried to ramp up operations and experienced similar delays. With your Verify, I'm Brandon Lewis.
Don't miss a day of DBL. I am here to receive that gift. Bold debates. Come on now. Enough.
Get real.
It blows my mind.
Hot celebs.
Happy 5th anniversary.
Love a suit, by the way.
Thank you.
Seriously, Al, give her a break. That just sounded weird, actually.
And all the laughs. That's Erica feeling it. Okay, I'm done with it. I'm done. DBL is always all new every day. Welcome back to DBL. Are you getting ready to start holiday shopping? If so, you're going to want to check out these deals that Steph showed me. Not Jeff, me.
I'm the new host.
No, you're not. Earlier from our friends at Morning Save. Take a look. What do you have for us today, Stephanie?
Hey, Tori, I've got some wonderful products and even better deals, and I can't wait to share them with you. So first up, we've got the Vimy Tempo Vt3 Plus smartwatch.
Okay.
It's an all-in-one smartwatch and fitness tracker. It's water resistant and it lasts up to 7 days with one charge. So normally this is as much as $100, Tori.
Right.
But we've got it for only $39, saving our viewers up to 61%. Now, Tori, let's be honest, we could all use a massage, right? Well, we've got the Parsex Deep Tissue Percussion Massager.
Whoa.
So you'll get one massage gun with all of these 6 different attachment heads like this. It's super compact, travel friendly. So normally this is as much as $149,
they're
Tori.
pricey.
But we've got it for only $39, which means you can get an at-home massage and save up to 74%. Next item, we've got Makeover Essentials on the go travel set. This little petite kit includes 10 eyeshadows, 5 lipstick shades, 1 blush, 1 liner, 1 mascara, 1 bronzer, 2 applicators, a mirror, and essential brushes, 8 of these. So normally it was $96 and now it's as much as $12. What? Saving up to 88%. Okay, and last we've got Olivia Rose Satin Sleep Set with 2-pack of towel turbans. So you'll get a matching satin eye mask, I love those so much, satin pillowcase with 2 towel turbans. So normally all of this is as much as $80. We've got it right now for only $25, Tori, saving up to 69%.
So all these products, guys, I would take in a heartbeat. Head on over to morningsave.com to snag these amazing deals at the lowest prices. You can even visit morningsave.com on your smartphone, which I'm sure you're on right now. Thank you so much, Steph. You know who taught me about satin pillows? It's helpful for your hair and the skin.
The audience didn't see who you pointed at.
I pointed to Erica. I'm so sorry.
Yeah, girl.
Erica taught me.
You need that silk satin pillow. You can't be sleeping on cotton. I know. You know what that does to your hair?
I didn't know.
Or your skin.
That's right. You gonna be doing it now?
I think there needs to be a magic aspect in the deal blast.
That's what you were taking from that? Okay,
Yeah.
great. DBL's new every day. We'll see you same time.
The
same
deals
place.
are magic.
Poof.